We have a bunch of definitions here. I think a lot of them are pretty straightforward. We're going to go through them pretty quick. I'm not going to give precise definitions for any of these. If you want precise definitions, check out the book. This is under 5.2 in the book. The sections with my videos correspond to the sections in the book. I just have my own subsections because I don't want hour-long videos. Hopefully you don't either. So we're going to start with a few, I think, pretty simple definitions that make sense. Parent and child, right? That corresponds to which node is on top of which. Okay, so parent, child. Parent, child. Parent, child. Okay, so C has a parent of B. Parent just means the node above. Child can be multiple. Parent will only be one in this case. Can't have two parents in this tree. All right, it's kind of like a Disney movie or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's still the case, but it definitely used to be the case. A lot of Disney characters only had one parent. Anyway, sibling. What do you think sibling is? Has the same parent. Okay, so E and D are siblings. F and B are siblings, and these are the only siblings in this graph. Ancestor descendant is about what you'd expect as well. Are you the great-grandfather, great-grandparent, great-grandson, etc.? So, right, A is the ancestor of all the trees. That's the whole point of a rooted tree, is the root. So A is everyone's ancestor, right? E is an ancestor of B. B is, sorry, E is a descendant of B. B is an ancestor of E. Watch out. F does not have any descendants. F is not the ancestor of anybody. Okay, so we're not dealing with uncles or cousins for ancestors and descendants. The book doesn't even mention cousins. I'm sure people would probably know what you meant, though. But next two definitions, I think the other definitions are maybe not quite as obvious, but leaf compared to internal node. What do these refer to? So a leaf just means you're childless. So I am a leaf. Me personally am currently a leaf in my family tree. When I was talking about, ways that we can think of trees, family tree is certainly one. That is a tree. And then if you are not childless, then you are an internal node. So some of you are internal nodes. I am a leaf. So, right, these are all leaves, F, E, and D. And the other ones are internal nodes because they all have children. Next to just the next definition is height and depth. Yeah, we'll do them too. Should have written depth down first, but depth is just how many steps does it take? How many steps down are you from the root? So everything over here is at depth 1. Everything over here is at depth 2. Here everything is depth 3. This is depth 0 up here. So again, this for rooted trees, the spatial organization really does matter. For every other kind of graph, it doesn't. But yeah, that's the nodes at depth 0. These are the nodes at depth 1, and so on. Kind of makes sense. There is something called the empty tree that some people talk about. We're not going to talk about it. The empty tree is a tree with no nodes, and that has a height of -1. Height is just the maximum depth. Okay, so that's just the max depth. So what's the height of this tree? This tree has height 3, because that's the furthest descendant essentially from the root. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, the empty tree has a height of -1. Think about that. If you only had a tree, if this was our entire tree, it would have a height of 0. Well, the empty tree has one less height than that, so we say it's -1. Does it make sense? I don't know, but that's the logic anyway. And the last two things that we're going to talk about is the level. So nodes at the same level have the same depth. So these two nodes right here are at the same level. They both have depth 1. They're on the same level. Again, I think pretty self-explanatory. I don't think precision really matters in these definitions. That's basically the idea. And the last thing to talk about here is subtree. This is maybe the most important definition here, because subtrees are used a lot in our traversal algorithms that we're going to get into after this. And basically, a subtree is just, well, let's look at a portion of this tree. And look, hey, this portion of this tree is a subtree. It is also a tree. A subtree is just like a subset of the nodes that also forms a tree. So here's another subtree. It's a little silly, but here's another subtree. It's a subtree of one node. It is just a root that is also a leaf, which when you think about trees doesn't really make sense, I think. But in terms of computer science, it is possible to be both a root and a leaf if you have a very small tree. And that's what we have here. So these are the basic definitions. Hopefully they kind of make sense. Again, the book does talk more about these, but I didn't feel like they needed that long to talk about. So here we are. Let me know if you have questions about any of these, and we will get into, I believe, some traversal algorithms. Breadth first, depth first. We're done with that. We got some new traversal algorithms for these very special trees. Have a good one.